Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you to please hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV today and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews and additional videos like today. Today's video, I'm going to show you all the AEW women's figures released in 2023, and you, the viewer, in the comments is going to vote for your favorite. And I will count those up, and at the Jillies Award Show at the end of this month or early January, I will reveal the AEW Women's Figure of the Year. Now, I just have to get a couple things off my chest in this video, okay? I did not want to include rares, chases, or exclusives in this video. I didn't, because they're hard to come by. A lot of times the only way to get them is to overpay, and I don't think that's right. But I had to include them in this video. And the main reason being, AEW and Jazwares only released three women's wrestling figures in one calendar year. That wasn't an exclusive, wasn't a rare, or wasn't a chase. And that's mind-boggling. If I did a video that didn't include those exclusives, there'd be 3 women's figures. That's pathetic in my opinion. And on top of that, we have maybe 4 new or unique sculpts. The rest are just repaints, re-releases. So that's lazy. But yeah, it's frustrating. This past year has been very frustrating, especially for women's wrestling figure collectors like myself, because the AEW figure line showed so much promise early on, and then that promise went kind of out the door. This past year is brutal. 2024 really needs to pick it up. We need to get more women's wrestling figure releases, and they need to show attention and care and not make boneheaded decisions like taking the bunny out of the regular line and completely removing Abaddon out of Unmatched 8. Those decisions tell me that they really don't care about the women's wrestling figure collectors. And I know people out there are going to say, well, the women's figures don't sell. Go to any Walmart, any Target in the USA, and you're going to see the AEW figures that don't sell. Maybe the women don't move as much. And that's what I'm trying to change. But at the same time, there are plenty of AEW figures that don't sell. So I don't buy that argument that the women aren't the high sellers and that's why they're not getting made. I think it's stupid. I think out of anything, it adds variety to a line that is becoming very stale. I mean, look at Unmatched 8 and tell me how many of those figures are bearded dudes with antlers and dressed in all black. I mean, how much variety can you get in one series, right? Anyway, I digress. I'm trying not to be negative. It's just been really frustrating this past year in 2024. Because, wow, they took a step backwards. And it's inexcusable. I made a video about a year and a half ago saying AEW figure line is in trouble. And I got so much hate, so much negative feedback. But you go back and watch that video and tell me where I'm wrong. Because all Jazwares and AEW is doing are proving my points right. And let me make this statement clear. I want this line to be successful. I want them to make awesome women's wrestling figures. But sometimes I feel like I put more effort into my videos than Jazwares puts into their toy line for a pretty major wrestling company, and that gets under my skin. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and show all the women's wrestling figures that were released in 2023 and vote in your comments what your favorite was. And yes, we're going to show all the ones that are way overpriced on eBay, and that's the only way to get them. AEW Unrivaled 12, Jamie Hayter. This attire is from the November 10th, 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite, which saw the team of AEW Women's World Champion Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel lose to Anna Jay, Ty Conti, and Thunder Rosa in a trios tag team match. Unrivaled 12, Jamie Hayter Rare Edition out of 3,000. This attire is from the April 1st, 2022 edition of AEW Rampage in Columbia, South Carolina. On this night, Jamie Hayter defeated Sky Blue in an Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament qualifying match. AEW Unrivaled 13, The Bunny, Chase version out of 5,000. This attire is from the January 26, 2021 episode of AEW Dark, where the Bunny would accompany the Butcher and the Blade, who were winners in a tag team match. Unmatched 6, Ruby Soho. This attire is from Ruby's Dynamite debut, which took place on the September 8th, 2021 episode. On this night, she would defeat Jamie Hayter in a hard-fought match. Unmatched 7, Thunder Rosa. This attire is from the December 13th, 2021 episode of AEW Dark Elevation on YouTube. On this night, Thunder Rosa would defeat Gabby Ortiz. Unmatched 7 Thunder Rosa, rare edition out of 3,000. This attire is from the February 3rd, 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite titled Beach Break. On this night, Dr. Britt Baker would defeat Thunder Rosa in a singles match. This was thanks to Rebel's interference. AEW Shop exclusive 1 of 3,000 Jade Cargill. This attire is from the April 22nd, 2022 episode of AEW Rampage, where Jade would successfully defend her TBS championship by defeating Marina Shafir in the main event. This brought her record to 30-0. Amazon exclusive 2-pack, Britt Baker. This attire is from Double or Nothing 2021, which took place on May 30th in Jacksonville, Florida. On this night, Britt Baker would defeat Hikaru Shida to become the new AEW World Women's Champion. Amazon exclusive 2-pack, Jade Cargill. This attire is from AEW Dynamite's Quake at the Lake, which took place on August 10th, 2022. On this night, Jade would successfully defend her TBS championship by defeating Madison Rayne, bringing her record to 36-0. Amazon exclusive, Champions 4-pack, Thunder Rosa. This attire is completely fantasy. It is the same as the Unmatched 7, except painted with a gold. It's a really cool aesthetic. They added this to the other figures in the package. This is also the first time we get that new updated AEW World Women's Championship. Alright, so I do apologize for ranting in the intro, but it's just very frustrating because I reviewed every single AEW women's wrestling figure. And I said before, and I mean it, that they have made some amazing, unique women's wrestling figures. And they've shown that they can do a tremendous job when they put the effort into it. And I feel like the effort's just not there, and that's really frustrating. And I know they switched factories or something a couple times, and I feel like we've heard, as fans, we've heard every excuse in the book as to why their products are not getting better and why there's been less frequent releases, and it's just frustrating because, as I mentioned, they've made some amazing figures. Even this past year, there's been some really cool figures. And Thunder Rosa, friend of the channel, she is like my favorite superstar, and I absolutely love and adore all her figures, but I want them to do better. I really want them to do better, y'all. I'm rooting for Jazwares, even though it doesn't seem that way. I promise I am. I just had to vent my frustrations because they've done a pretty poor job this past year, and I just hope for improvement. So let me know in the comments, okay? Let me know what your favorite women's wrestling figure released by AEW Jazwares was in 2023. I'm real interested to see which one gets voted at the top, because I think it's going to be a pretty even race in my opinion, but either way, it'll be interesting to see. Now, that being said, thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Also, head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10% on your next order of women's wrestling figures. Now, I appreciate y'all watching. Have a great night, y'all.